G'day. Picture, if you will, Australia in the 1930s. The Great Depression had cast a long shadow across the globe. Our sunburnt country, with its vast outback and resilient people, was not spared. In the heartland of Western Australia, a different kind of crisis was brewing. This one had feathers and an attitude. Farmers, many of them veterans of the Great War, had worked tirelessly to cultivate the land. They had battled droughts, floods and isolation, but nothing could have prepared them for the enemy they were about to face, the Australian emu. These weren't your average birds. Emus, flightless but formidable, can grow taller than a man. They roamed in their thousands, driven by hunger and thirst. Their target, the farmers' precious wheat crops. The emus were relentless. They feasted on the wheat, trampled the fields and broke through fences as if they were made of straw. What began as a nuisance escalated into a full-blown agricultural crisis. Something had to be done. The farmers knew they couldn't win this fight alone. Desperate, they turned to the Australian government for help. They had faced down enemies before in the trenches of Europe. Surely, they thought, their own government could help them defeat a common enemy, even if that enemy was a bird. The farmers' pleas did not fall on deaf ears. The government took the emu threat seriously. After all, the livelihoods of their people and the nation's food security were at stake. The stage was set for a most peculiar conflict, the Great Emu War. The emus, for their part, remained blissfully unaware of the impending conflict. They continued their march across the countryside, foraging for food and water. Their numbers seemed to multiply by the day. They moved with surprising speed and agility, their powerful legs carrying them across the landscape. Their booming calls echoed across the plains, a constant reminder of the challenge that lay ahead. The responsibility for leading this unusual campaign fell to Major G.P.W. Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery, a man known for his bravery and leadership during the Great War. Armed with Lewis machine guns, a weapon that had proven effective in the Great War, the soldiers felt confident. Major Meredith and his men set off to confront the enemy. They were ready for a swift and decisive victory. It was a sight to behold. The soldiers, equipped with their heavy artillery, moved with purpose. Soldiers in full military attire, their faces grim, advancing across the parched landscape. Determined to succeed, advancing across the parched landscape. Their mission was clear, but their target was anything but ordinary. Their target? Not enemy soldiers, but flocks of 2-meter-tall birds. Emus, to be precise. Major Meredith, a decorated soldier, must have felt a sense of bewilderment. This was unlike any battle he had faced before. He had faced enemy fire in the trenches, but nothing could have prepared him for the unpredictable nature of emu warfare. The emus were unlike any adversary he had encountered. The emus, it turned out, were masters of guerrilla tactics. They moved swiftly and unpredictably. They refused to stand still and fight like proper soldiers. Instead, they used their speed and agility to evade capture. Instead, they scattered at the first sign of danger, running in all directions. This made them incredibly difficult to target. Their feathers, surprisingly thick and tough, provided unexpected protection against the hail of bullets. It was as if nature had given them armor. The machine guns designed to mow down enemy lines proved largely ineffective against these feathered foes. The emus were simply too resilient and too quick. Section 4, shots fired, feathers fly. A comedy of errors in the outback. The Great Emu War, as it became known, was a comedy of errors from the start. What began as a government initiative to control the emu population quickly spiraled into a farcical military campaign. The soldiers soon realized that their quarry was more elusive than they had anticipated. Despite their best efforts, the emus proved to be incredibly agile and quick, outmaneuvering the soldiers at every turn. The emus seemed to vanish into thin air, only to reappear miles away, their numbers undiminished. It was as if they were playing a game of hide-and-seek with the soldiers, always staying one step ahead. Newspapers across the globe, hungry for a light-hearted story amidst the doom and gloom of the Depression, latched onto the emu war with glee. The absurdity of the situation was too good to pass up. Headlines like "Feathered Foes Outwit Army" and "Emus Win First Round" spread like wildfire. The public couldn't get enough of the David versus Goliath narrative playing out in the Australian outback. The world watched in amusement as the mighty Australian army struggled to defeat a bunch of birds. It was a spectacle that highlighted the unpredictability of nature and the limits of human control. One memorable encounter involved a flock of emus charging straight towards a group of soldiers who were manning a Lewis gun. The soldiers, caught off guard, scrambled to get into position. The soldiers opened fire, unleashing a barrage of bullets. The sound of gunfire echoed through the outback, but the emus were undeterred. But the emus, seemingly unfazed, simply veered off at the last moment, leaving the soldiers to fire on empty air. It was a scene straight out of a slapstick comedy. The emus, it seemed, were winning the propaganda war as well. Their uncanny ability to outsmart the soldiers turned them into unlikely heroes in the eyes of the public. Section 5, Retreat and Re-evaluation. Can you win a war against birds? After weeks of embarrassing defeats, Major Meredith was forced to concede defeat. The Great Emu War, which had begun with such high hopes, ended in a humiliating retreat. The emus, it seemed, were simply too cunning, too resilient to be defeated by conventional means. The government, facing mounting criticism over the cost and ineffectiveness of the campaign, eventually withdrew its support. The soldiers, no doubt relieved to be returning to their barracks, packed up their machine guns and left the emus to their hard-won victory. The retreat of the military, however, did not signal the end of the emu problem. The birds, emboldened by their victory, continued to plague farmers. Alternative strategies, such as bounties and trapping, were implemented, but the emu population remained stubbornly high. The emus, it seemed, were here to stay. Section 6. The emus prevail. A new era of coexistence. Today, the Great Emu War serves as a humorous reminder of the unpredictable nature of nature. It highlights the dangers of underestimating the resilience and adaptability of even the most unlikely of adversaries. The emus, once viewed as agricultural pests, have become a symbol of Australian resilience. They are a reminder that even in the face of adversity, nature finds a way, and that sometimes the best course of action is to learn to coexist with the creatures that share our planet. In the end, the Great Emu War taught us a valuable lesson: respect for all creatures, great and small. It also taught us that even the most well-equipped army is no match for a determined emu, and that perhaps, just perhaps, there are some battles that are best left unfought. Section 7. Lessons learned. Respect the emu and never underestimate a bird. The Great Emu War, despite its comical aspects, serves as a potent symbol of human resilience and the challenges of managing our relationship with the natural world. It was a time when the Australian government, in an attempt to protect farmlands, found itself in a bizarre battle against these large, flightless birds. While we may chuckle at the image of soldiers battling flightless birds, it's crucial to remember the very real agricultural and ecological issues that underpinned this unique conflict. The emus, migrating in massive numbers, caused significant damage to crops, threatening the livelihoods of many farmers. The emus, in their own way, reminded us that we are not the sole inhabitants of this planet. Their presence and persistence highlighted the delicate balance between human activities and wildlife. Their victory, however unconventional, serves as a powerful reminder of the need for balance and coexistence. It underscores the importance of understanding and respecting the natural world, even when it seems to be at odds with human interests. So the next time you encounter an emu, remember the Great Emu War. Think about the unexpected challenges and the lessons learned from this peculiar chapter in history. Remember the farmers who fought for their livelihoods, striving to protect their crops and sustain their families. The soldiers who faced an unusual enemy, adapting their strategies in the face of an unexpected adversary, and the birds that outsmarted them all. These emus, with their surprising agility and resilience, became an enduring symbol of nature's unpredictability. And perhaps you'll gain a newfound appreciation for these remarkable creatures that continue to roam the Australian outback, a testament to their enduring spirit and adaptability, a testament to their enduring spirit and a reminder that sometimes nature has the last laugh. In the end, the Great Emu War teaches us that coexistence with nature is not just a choice, but a necessity for our shared future.